with another segment of Reclaiming Our Identities. I have a special guest here today, Mr. Charles Warren, my father. So I will allow Charles Warren to introduce himself to the IG family.
Good evening.
Good evening. That's
Good
it.
evening. Good evening.
So, do you have anything that you would like to share before we get started? You want to give a shout out to
Yes,
any
it's a
people?
few people that I want to mention, make notice of. One is Marion Holiday, which is was my spiritual leader and mentor. Dr. John Henry Clark. Tom Burrell for his work on brainwash. Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, and a few more that I might leave out, but those are my mentors.
Okay, so those are some really powerful people, especially Dr. Francis Cress Westland and Dr. John Henry Clark, who has great work. And for those individuals who are unfamiliar with it, I really advise that you go and YouTube them to see some of their work, because it's really great for what we're doing with reclaiming our identities. So before we even get started on it, again, I have put out before that I look up to my father and whatever, and he is also a behaviorist when it comes to dog training. But before then, I heard some few things that you said. It was one person, I'm not sure it's a king, but she is very, I think it's a she. She's
the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King.
Okay, so the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King, and what is her name?
Velveeta King.
Velveeta King.
Dr. Velveeta King.
Velveeta like the cheese?
Wait a minute now. I believe that's her first name.
Okay, well,
But I like her in her work that she did on my Alpha 21. That was my first time ever hearing of her. And what I like about her is her sincerity and her honesty. I believe honesty is one of the main staples that a person could develop, he should develop, in my, that's what I believe. Because if you're honest, then guess what? It's hard to make a fool out of somebody that's honest when you be honest with it. And when I say honest, I'm not talking about honest. I'm talking about honest with yourself. You know, some people will play board games or solitaire or something like that, and they look over their shoulder when they get stuck and see if somebody watching, and then they cheat. I learned that from Brother Marion Holiday, and of course I add my own stuff to it. But honesty is the staple, one of my staples anyway, and I lean on it. Have been honest all of my life. That's one of the things I talk about. But I love the work that when John Clark mentioned in one of his speeches, probably more than that, but I've seen the one that I've seen, when he talks about restoring the black man's confidence. You know, that is probably one of the best things you could do, because we as black men and women, our confidence is shot. You see, you know, he spoke on. He said that when Japan had 2 nuclear warheads dropped on them, and after World War II, they came back, and they came to America and bought trains and cars and of such thing, took them apart and put their engineers on it, and they came out something better than what we did. So that's what needed to happen to us. If we restore our confidence, we could do these things. The first person that made a car didn't know what it was, according to John Clark, but that didn't stop him from producing it. And I've heard a lot of our elders speak on the part about us not being able to produce anything. It's something as small as a baby diaper to put in our diapers, or a plastic pick to pick our hair. We got to go buy it from somebody else. We have to stop being consumers. The black man in this country makes over $1.3 trillion, and we only keep 2% of it. That's a shame. We hear all of this stuff from different people, but you hardly ever hear anyone talking about those things. And to me, they are very important, because that's where that's what you grow from. Anyway, I'm no public speaker or anything like that, but these are just my thoughts, my experiences. My claim is animal behaviors. I've been training dogs for 40 years or more, and I know more than I'll ever probably do. But it had enabled me to be a little bit wiser than probably I would have been if I hadn't had that experience. And it had saved my life on many occasions because I had something to turn to when everything else was way out of order. But Dr. DeGrasse Tyson, awesome. I mean, this guy here, when they talk about NASA, when you talk about the Hidden Figures, the movie and Hidden Figures, the most people think that. Well, let me put it this way. In 1925, they had a debate. It's called the John Scope, the Monkey Trial. And from there, they took all of the important science out of the science books in the education field. But when Sputnik came up, they realized then they made a mistake. They realized, and you can look at the Hidden Figures, and I think they talk about this briefly. They are in Hidden Figures. They talk about NASA. Well, we know that the black women that was in NASA was the one that took John Glenn and sent him and brought him back. But what we didn't understand is that the same time that they was doing NASA came into existence right about the same time when Sputnik went up. And they realized they were afraid. They wasn't trying to go to a final frontier like you might hear on space, on Star Trek or anything like that. They were afraid that the Russians was going to put a missile up and drop it down in the middle of Times Square. So they got afraid. So that's why they invented NASA. And then NASA, they cut the budget when President Reagan and Gorbachev, when he told Gorbachev to tear down the wall. Well, NASA started when the Russians went and put up Sputnik, and then the budget was cut after the wall went down. So what that tells me is that we've been living probably a lie. You know, everybody think that is this way and that. But if you watch the movie of Hidden Figures, you'll learn a lot.
Okay. So I have a quick question. That was great information. So honesty is one thing that we need. So do you think honesty plays a part in building confidence? And I would like for you to just explain that in probably like 30 seconds. So honesty, do you think that has to do with confidence?
I believe that the truth set or make you free, however you want to phrase it. And because I believe that, I believe if you tell a lie, it'll keep you in bondage. Okay. So that's why I lean on honesty.
Okay.
It's very important.
So a quick question, because we're doing in with confidence, and again, this segment is about reclaiming our identities, and confidence is one. So how do you feel, or how do you think that confidence in a black man has changed? We're looking at the 21st century, and we could see now roles have been changed. I mean, been reversed. But I'm not trying to speak for you. But how do you think the man today, black man today, do you think the confidence has wavered, or do you think that it is more? What is your thought on that?
Well, I believe that we've been bamboozled. You know, I believe that most of us don't know the truth. We only know what they tell us, and that's not good for confidence.
Okay.
You have to have truth when you have confidence. Here again, I believe the truth will set or make you free, and a lie will keep you in bondage. So along with confidence, you got to have truth. You see.
Okay.
You know, because if you build anything on a lie, what's going to happen to it? There's no foundation. You can't build on it. And if you do build on it, as soon as you have a problem, the whole thing's going to fall down.
Okay. So I can agree with that. I had one person saying that they would rather they would not want to be in an uncomfortable lie, but they would rather actually feel the pain of the truth. So I can kind of see that on there. So you're able to move on from that. So now we looked at the male. So, do you think the confidence in the black female has changed for the better or for the worse?
I think the black female has been used as a pawn
What do you mean by that?
because, the, well, let me try to say it quick. The Okay, let's look at what's going on. Look at all the incarceration.
Okay.
Look at the abortions. We are 13, 14% of the nation's population. Now, I stand to be corrected, but we're in that area. And we've been here, what, about 500 years? Well, we have other people coming here now, ain't been here 100 years, and there are more of them here than us. So the black woman has been fooled to believe that they can use abortion as a form of contraception.
Okay.
Right now in New York City, there's more babies, black babies being aborted that's being born. So the black female is in trouble.
Oh.
The whole nation's in trouble. Black nation is in trouble because of that. You can't wash your babies down the drain. And listen, I feel, well, this is just me saying, we lost before Roe
v. Wade.
yes. The white woman was 80% of the abortions were performed on white women. But after Roe, Wade versus Roe, the black women outnumber white women 5 to 7 times. So, and they believe that Planned Parenthood is something good. Now, a lot of people think, oh, they're giving out condoms and all that. But they're flushing your babies down the tube. So, I mean, so that's why I say that the black woman is a pawn. See?
So, and you feel as though if the black woman had confidence and knew her
If they knew the
identity,
truth. If they
and her
knew the truth.
and her worth and what have you, then she would not be made available to be
Exactly.
made a pawn over and over and over
Exactly.
again. All right, so this is the last question that we have on it. So we looked at the confidence for black men and for black women. So how do you think this plays into the youth, our youth? So do you think that the lack of confidence that we see within black men and black women, does it have a negative or a positive effect on the youth?
Well, I think everybody know that. It's negative.
Okay.
The school systems, I mean, there's a whole lot of things, but time wouldn't allow. But, I can go on and on and on. But until we start practicing and learning the truth, I mean, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse.
Okay.
Well, let me give you an example. I believe in, let's say about 10 years ago, it was 17 million black feces have been aborted. Now I believe it's up to 21 million. I mean, it was 17 million. 1/3 of black population have been flushed down the tube. Now I believe it's up to 20 or 21 million. How can we stay here? I believe what's going to happen is we're going to be just like the native Indians or whatever you want to call them. They'll be held up in one apartment
In Brooklyn.
in Brooklyn, and we can't stand that. Next 40 years, are we going to lose another 20 million?
And I'm gonna actually climb onto that because when I was doing for ESOL, that is English as a Second Language, I had to look at or view the statistics for the immigrants that was coming in as well as those who are native to the country. Believe it or not, the Native Americans population is improving, and that was based upon the 2010 census report. So that's
But it would take a million years for them to catch up from where they was at. So
that's true.
So I mean, it's so marginal. I mean, it's even not really worth mentioning. You follow? And I've been astute. From 9 years old when they killed the president. That's when I started being conscious of what's going on in the country.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up again. I would like to thank my father, Mr. Warren, Charles Warren, for coming and joining us on this segment for Reclaiming Our Identity, where we focus on confidence and what are some steps that we could do to build the confidence within our communities, the black male and the black female, and of course the offspring. He was also able to give us some really great leaders that we can go and research. It was, I'll let you say, Dr. John Henrik Clarke, It was Dr. Francis Cress Welsland, Athena King, as well Alvina King, as well as was the other person?
Tom Burrell and
Tom
his work
Burrell
in
and his work with
Brainwash.
Brainwash, and of course his spiritual mentor.
Marion Holiday.
So may he rest in peace. So we like to keep it short and sweet and not step anyone's feet.
Thank
so
you.
please join us again on next Sunday when we are discussing something else. My father will be on here again. And I'm not going to tell you exactly what we're going to discuss. I just want you to come and join in. So again, love, peace, and light.